market here, we are talking about the invisible hands of demand and supply. And we can't rely on them to ensure the provision of public goods. And the public goods we are talking about here include security, health, and education. We cannot rely on the forces of demand and supply to make all of that one possible. And so there is therefore the need for some level of intervention by government. And the intervention could be regulatory. So what we are saying, apart from the fact that the market has a role to play, the government should also come to regulate the activities of the market. Now, all of these points clearly to one thing. If you look at all the revelations from that report, it shows that the African continent, and Nigeria in particular, needs good leadership, need appropriate strategy, and need appropriate developmental approaches. Now, we are going to look at Nigeria because this is where we are, the Nigerian context. I did a little definition about what Nigeria is here to say that Nigeria occupies an area of 923,768 square meters with a population of about 160 million people. It has 36 states and 774 local government areas. The political context in Nigeria, the civilian dispensation that we seem to have today began in 1999 with the election of Obasanjo, who handed over to Alhaji Umar Musa Yar'Adua in 2007, and the demise of Yar'Adua paved way for Dr. Goodluck Jonathan to emerge. And then in 2011, Goodluck Jonathan promised Nigerian free, fair, and credible election. And so, the election that was held in 2011, internationally and domestically, it was adjudged to be one of the fairest and freest elections. But that is still subject to contention by a lot of persons. Because the aftermath of that election is also very, very disturbing, as we had cases of post-election violence and terrorist attack. And in fact, it was as immediately Jonathan came in, we started hearing of bomb blasts and all of that. The economic context. The long years of military rule and destructive policy coupled with rent-seeking behavior has left the country with high level of poverty and low access to social services. There's rent-seeking behavior, in fact, in all the sectors. For instance, the oil and gas sector is very visible there. And then Nigeria, fortunately enough, is the largest oil producer in Africa and the 7th largest in the world. Yet it holds the 3rd largest number of poor people in the world after China and India. Now, the economic growth rate in Nigeria increased from between 2 to 3% from 1990 to 1999 to between 6 to 7% between 2000 and 2010. And then I wrote under that there's increasing resources but poor citizens. That is where we talk about there's growth, but there is not manifesting in the life of citizens. The social context. Nigeria ranks very low in all development indices. The UNDP report captured this, and it ranked Nigeria 157th position out of 177 countries. And then the Transparency International has consistently rated Nigeria to be among the most corrupt countries in the world. And all of us can attest to that fact. Nigeria has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world, and about 10 million children of school-going age are out of school in Nigeria. Now, we would like to go to the program performance of Center LSD since inception. And we'll look at it vis-a-vis the tripod that Center LSD is standing on. We look at it from the perspective of leadership, perspective of strategy, and perspective of development. The center runs 3 leadership training programs, namely the Leadership School, the Leadership Institute, and we also have an executive leadership course. The Leadership School, from the Goodwill message, it is done free of charge for 1 year. It goes every third Saturday of the month. And then the Leadership Institute is for middle level managers. The executive leadership course is for those at the senior level. And so far, since inception, we have trained 238 Nigerians on leadership. Then, at the moment, we are also training Niger Delta youths. The Niger Delta youths are not part of this figure. We are going to train Niger Delta youths for the next 2 years. The first year, we have trained 36 of them, and then from next year, we are going to train another one. It's sponsored by PIND, Foundation for Partnership Initiative in the Niger Delta. So by the time we add it to this figure will definitely shoot up. In the area of strategy, Center LSD, I told you we don't want to behave like a carpenter. We have helped quite a lot of organizations to develop strategies, and some of the organizations include UN Women. We have also developed for Christian, we have helped and supported Christian Aid to develop theirs, and also INEC. And Jane can attest to it. The INEC strategy just came out. It was launched a few days ago. We'll have a copy in our office in case you want to look at it. Then under development, we have done quite a lot under development. Essentially, all our work in development are majorly in the area of governance and leadership. In 2010, we did environmental advocacy work in 2 communities in the FCT. The work is called Community-Led Total Sanitation. And we did it in Durumi 3 community and Ruwan Fulani community. Then by 2011, we got another grant to do similar thing in Kuiji Area Council, at Kuiji Area Council of the FCT. Then right now, we're also doing a project, Transparency and Accountability in the Oil and Gas Sector with the SIWA. The project is still running. Then PACT has been of tremendous support to us. They supported us in election observation. They also supported us twice now in budget advocacy work. And that made us to do budget analysis in Bayelsa State, where we have to engage both the civil society community and the government. And far-reaching results came out from that engagement. Then CAS has also supported us from inception. Conrad Adenua Foundation. They have been supporting our annual leadership lecture from 2010 to date. The center is also engaging with the Natural Resource Charter via social media. And I'd like to say here that we're going to begin another work in the area of governance with Christian Aid. In fact, the startup workshop will be taking place from Monday. The project is V2P, that is Voice to the Poor, Voice to the People. So it's starting from Monday by the grace of God. Organizational strengths. The organization has some strength. Okay, before I continue, I'd like to recognize my teacher in strategic plan, Ebele Archer. You're welcome.
Sorry, good morning everyone. Sorry I'm late, but and also I'm a little bit, I'm going to just spending about 30 minutes ahead.
Okay.
We learn together.
All right. So let me continue. The organizational strength. Some of our strengths include a well-experienced executive director. We have a good organizational policies and management team, good external relations, especially with the media and donor. We have good track record with donors. We have a well-organized finance and program department. We have good office space at the headquarters and at the Niger Delta office. That is not to say that we don't have witnesses. The major witnesses are just two. Network of people and donors for external funding are limited to the executive director's office. In other words, all that we have enjoyed so far came through the contact of the executive director. And then there is the existence of strategic direction without a full-fledged strategic plan. We established that at the beginning. Then what are the challenges and the lessons that we have learned over time? The key challenge within the first 2 years was funding, especially for personnel and operating cost. And we are confident that with the number of projects that are rolling in now, all of these will soon be a thing of the past. Then the lessons for the center is the need to focus on multi-year projects for better planning and sustainability. And we're beginning to get multi-year projects now as our hands are becoming stronger and stronger every day. The Christian Aid project is one example. The Pain project is another example. All right. Stakeholder analysis. Center LSD stakeholders include local communities, government at all arms and levels, civil society, the private sector, the donor community, and the international development partners. Those are the people that form stakeholders. But we notice that there is a gap in terms of promoting ideas, policies, and actions that will lead to a transformative change in Africa among our stakeholders. And so, the scope, quality, and level of capacity building, advocacy, and campaign we discovered is very low among our stakeholders, which, of course, led to the establishment of the center to deal with all of these issues. Now, as a center, we also have strategic objectives. And the strategic objectives are derived from the contextual analysis, the vision and mission. And our strategic objectives are: 1, to promote ideas, policies, and actions that will lead to transformative change in Africa; to promote leader development, leadership development, and strategic thinking and process; to promote human-centered and sustainable development with special focus on governance, human-centered development, and environment; and to collaborate with individuals, organizations, network, coalitions, and movements that will help in achieving the center's objectives. Now, listing those strategic objectives are not enough.
Sorry,
there are some.
Could you just go back so I can just look at the
Is it here?
And one more. Just quickly reflect on the name. Okay. And then the 4. So let's just go through the 4. No, keep going.
I should go now?
Please. I just want to have a look quickly again at the 4 strategic objectives.
Four strategic.
Yes.
Objectives.
Okay. Promoting ideas, policies, actions, leadership development. Yeah.
All right. So, to achieve those strategic objectives, we design key actions that should be taken, and of course, for every action, there will be outcome. So that is why this particular slide is captioned "Key Actions and Outcomes." Now, for strategic objective 1, can we remember that strategic objective?
Sorry, I wanted to make that comment. It would have been better to place the strategic objective there. As we are looking at it,
Okay.
that was why he was asking you to go back there so you can align yourself with the objective and the actions for each of those for next
All right.
next time.
That is why we are here to validate.
Yeah.